Hey folks, welcome back. In this video, we're going to talk about foreshortening arms and legs. So in order to start out, let's take a look at arms first and foremost. We can see that we have a shoulder blade, and we have our upper arm, and we have our lower arm, and we have our hand. Now, something to keep in mind is that if the upper arm is considered to be 1 unit in length, the lower arm is going to be roughly 1.5 times the size of the upper arm. So that's an important measurement to consider. Now, I'm drawing these things out as cylinders because what we're essentially going to be doing is rotating those cylinders towards us. A foreshortened arm will look like these cylinders are actually coming towards the viewer. Let me demonstrate. This is a cylinder that is coming towards the viewer. As the cylinder gets closer to being straight on, where we're just looking directly at the cap of the cylinder, it's going to look like a circle if it's just dead on. But if we start to change its orientation, we can just see a hint of that side of the cylinder. And that's a really important consideration to keep in mind whether you're drawing arms or legs. So let's see how we can draw a foreshortened arm utilizing this concept. So I always like to start out with the shoulder blades. The shoulder blades, you can think of it just like a small cap. And then from there, I'll have the upper arm coming towards the viewer. And then I'm going to have the lower arm, and I'll just switch to a different color here. Make that much bigger. And so we have something that looks like this. We've got shoulder blade, upper arm, lower arm, and you can see the cap for the cylinder that represents a lower arm is going to be mostly hidden. We're just seeing the top part. The bottom part's going to be completely concealed. From there, we can draw the trapezoidal shape. Let's just simplify this. And we'll just draw a thumb so you can see how this is going to go. So you're seeing very little of the upper arm, but the position of the cylinder is such that it's coming out towards the viewer. You're going to see the cylinder take on angles that look like the angles are getting wider as they're coming out towards the viewer. So now let's do one more example with this. We'll draw the shoulder blade. We'll have the upper arm appear to come out towards the viewer. And then I'll switch colors here. I'll draw the lower arm. So you have upper arm, lower arm, and now we can draw the trapezoidal shape for the hands. And of course, the fingers are going to extend beyond that, but I'm just focusing on the foreshortened aspect. If you're thinking about fingers, fingers are essentially tapered cylinders where you have knuckles, right? You've got a knuckle that basically is on the part where your fingers connect with your palms. Then you've got a secondary knuckle, and you've got another knuckle here. But what's also really important to remember is the most mobility or the most flexibility is going to be within this middle knuckle right here. This knuckle doesn't bend so much, the knuckle that is closest to the fingernail. So if you're drawing fingers foreshortened, the same concept applies. You're going to have a cylinder that represents this area right here, the first extension of the finger. Then you're going to have another extension of the finger. Perhaps that's going to be even shorter. And then you're going to have that third representation of the cylinder. So it'll look something like that, and your nails will be like this. So if I were to drop the opacity and show you what this will look like, got the finger, knuckles, knuckles. And that's coming out towards the viewer. So you have to practice that. Look at some references and study from references. There's plenty of examples on Pinterest and online where you can look at foreshortened features. When you're drawing foreshortened features, resolve them into cylinders, and I think it's going to be easier for you to visualize foreshortened poses. So let's take a look at legs. Works the same way. We'll start off with the pelvis. And I'll switch to a blue color here. We've got the thigh. We've got a kneecap. I'm simplifying this just for example purposes. We've got the lower leg. And we've got the foot. So again, if this is 1 unit long, if the thigh is 1 unit long, the lower leg is roughly 1.5 times as long as the upper leg or the thigh. So again, you want to think about what the character is going to be doing. So if, for example, you want to have a thigh coming out towards the viewer, sometimes you'll see this where characters appear to be running towards something. Again, pay particular attention to the angles that are created when you draw that cylinder in perspective. For the lower leg, that is also going to be a cylinder. And that cylinder tapers back. And you've got the foot. And then the knee itself is going to be this area right here. So you can think of a foreshortened leg as basically 2 cylinders that appear to be stacked, one on top of the other, with the knee being the glue that connects the thigh to the lower leg. So you can use that for characters that are running or jumping or doing whatever they need to do. And let's just, for giggles, do another foreshortened pose, maybe where a leg is coming out, like so. Draw through the form. It's very, very helpful to do that. Let's just move all of this stuff down so I have more room to draw. And this is going to be the ball of the foot. Let me shrink this down a little bit. So you just have like some shoes or something like that. We've got this foot that's actually coming out towards the viewer. If we want to, what we can do just to avoid having a tangent between the heel and the leg, we can just add a little bit of overlap. And of course, I'm skipping musculature and that type of thing because this is really important to understand. You can always add your knowledge of musculature once you can resolve things into very basic shapes. So that's my tip for today. If you found value in this video, please consider giving it a thumbs up so that other folks can also benefit from this knowledge. And if you haven't considered subscribing, consider subscribing because there's going to be plenty of other cool things that I'm going to go ahead and show you. As always, if you have any requests, I'll take them into consideration. Just leave them in the comments below. And as always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.